isn't it fair to say that because it's been shown it can be done, why isn't it done all the time? So the process can be quicker, it can get deals through, they can do these things, but they choose not to go that extra mile for customers, which demonstrates to me, generally, that they don't care.
Every single estate agent in that room put their hand up, yet nobody wants to change.
We seem to forget that we used to spend a ridiculous amount of money on newspaper advertising every week, which was also a massive pain in the backside.
Based on my experience of 20 odd years now, that people do act when they're stressed and overwhelmed.
Hi, morning. Welcome to episode 3 of the 5% Club podcast with me, Brian Mansell, your host. I'm delighted to be joined by one of the top elite estate agents in the UK, Chris Ellis, who is the MD, CEO and owner of Harrison's Estate Agents in Kent, in Sittingbourne in Kent. And we're going to have a frank conversation today, Chris, about, estate agency, your Rightmove fees hike, which I definitely think you should be talking about. And just a bit about Gazelle. And of course, as with most of this podcast, this is about not an advert for Gazelle, but this is about real life examples of the challenges and the joys, I know you've definitely had some, of using this service whilst we try to get this mainstream across the country to help people who are moving do so with more security, more certainty. So how are you, mate? Anyway, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Your 5K run this morning yet?
No, I've got the marathon on Sunday, so my calves have been playing up, so I'm to the point now where I've just had to sort of take it easy and just go all out on Sunday. So,
wow. I'm advertising the fact we beat Everton last night in the Merseyside derby, so there's 1-0.
I didn't see the result. I haven't looked. I forgot it was on. What's the score?
1-0 we beat. Beat Everton. Finally. We haven't seen the beat for ages. Anyway, sorry about that. So you did the marathon, mate. I mean, that's phenomenal because you love your running, don't you?
Yeah, if we're going to go down that route, obviously for me, it was more so you've certainly known the challenges that I've had over the number of years, and it was 2020, which again is actually when Gazelle came on board with us.
So, yeah.
That was the sort of year that I needed to find something to clear me head, because a lot goes in my head, as you well know, as you've known me for several years. But yeah, so running was my release, if anything. So rather than like people write things down, for me, it was just go for a run, and then by the end of it, I'd written it all down out of my head. So
I hear these. I'm not a runner, as you know, mate. I mean, you said marathon. I was thinking of Snickers, but but actually, I hear this a lot from people who. I mean, I go to the gym, and I have no desire to try and look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, I just literally went to the gym, started going in lockdown, mainly to get myself, like you said, my head right, because it was, we were all tackling, dealing with things in a different way, weren't we? And I really enjoy that break in the day, which gives me a chance to sort of pause, think, reflect, and then start again almost to have a really good second half of the day. And running does that as well, does it then?
Yeah, it's interesting because the last few weeks leading up, when I should have probably been doing my longer runs to prepare myself for Sunday, I've ended up having a couple of niggles, and it probably isn't the greatest time with a stamp duty change that's just obviously just come up, so that probably added a few more pressures. But I just got back into the rut of red wine in the evening, no running because I couldn't run, and then literally the pressure had gone on my shoulders again. So I think when I'm running, that doesn't seem to be there.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's like a release, gets it out of you. That's
Definitely.
Good. So talk about that. So how was the stamp duty deadline? Was it all carnage like everyone expected, or was it always an overhyped media event?
If I be completely honest, and I think this is what I feel our industry is classic at doing, is everything's hunky-dory when I'm not allowed to swear, am I?
Yeah, you can swear.
I think it's been fucking shit. And to be honest, if I go back to it 2 to 3 weeks ago, I was wishing for the 1st of April.
Right.
That's complete honesty. I was getting to a point where, and then again, it could be technically my fault, but again, one of the things that I've really, really acknowledged, and I knew I was, is how passionate and how much I care about getting people over the line. So I was waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, texting clients. I was texting them at 10 o'clock at night, which I haven't done for a few years. And that was my own fault, but it was at the point where it was needed. And fortunately, bar the odd one that wasn't on a reservation agreement, that again, to be honest, they split up. So our seller actually would have been compensated over that, but decided he didn't want to do it, and we had one big fall through there. But other than that, we had a stonking month in the sense that we got all our deals through that we needed to, and then one of them, which was a deal of three, went through on the wire on a simultaneous on Monday. So that was all fun and
Oh,
games.
that's good.
So,
I mean, it's
but
just like a case of
it's
people under a lot of pressure. People, it was you found that the public were feeling a lot more pressure than they would normally feel because of the deadline, and that was being sort of shared with you.
yeah, I think it's see, I'm on the fence again, and it's a good topic, and I think the problem that we have, and I've always said it, and it's probably exactly the same as when you were in the industry. There's such a big fucking brick wall between estate agents and conveyancers. And I can see it. I always tend to look at it from both sides of the coin. Like, there are some estate agents, for instance, 4 weeks ago, there was a local agent to us, and a good agent, I would class them as. And they were selling our buyer's property, and the buyer basically come to us and says, "Oh yeah, look, my agent's told me that we're going to be getting in before the stamp duty deadline." Like, this is 3 4 weeks ago, and I'm like, "You've got a chain of six that's just come together. Like, there is absolutely no way you're moving now." I've been telling people since November, if you want to be moved by the stamp duty deadline, you need to be moving now. You need a buyer now.
Yeah,
Yet in January, we were having the conversation going, "Look, to be honest, you need to actually factor in this 2.5 grand, because I can't guarantee it's going to go through." Now, don't get me wrong, I'm going to do everything possible to get it through. But when you got an agent there 4 weeks ago, but then this is the problem: you've got people managing sales that haven't
yeah,
even moved themselves. So they've
yeah,
got no
yeah,
idea of the stresses and understand it. So that's an issue. Then you've
yeah.
got some conveyancers, and I know they're busy, that just shut up shop and won't talk to anybody. Because again, I appreciate their workload's quite high, but
Yeah.
I've worked with one particular conveyancer that has just been phenomenal. Like, he's been texting me in the morning, going, "Right, again, those 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock texts, he's been talking to me, right, what can we do today to get over the line?" So it was actually a partnership rather than "Oh, I'm not going to talk to you because you're an annoying little estate agent."
Yeah.
And that was the difference, and that was the reason. And we had quite a lot of deals on with that solicitor, and it's quite ironic that, yes, all the ones that we aim to get through have gone through because we were working together.
Yeah, it is
We
interesting.
could
I was reading.
on this, to be honest, but
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because I was reading a report, an article, self-publicized article about one of the large conveyancing firms who are saying, we've gone the extra mile. We've had staff in overnight. We've had staff in outside of hours. And you're like, yeah, because if you didn't, you'd lose 2 or 3 major national contracts with companies that use your services because you didn't do that. And you've
Mhm.
had to do that because you've either taken on more cases than you can handle because you're greedy, or more importantly, your service is normally pretty shite. So you've had to do that because they needed longer to get them over the line. And if you didn't
Yeah.
do that and get them exchanged, you would have lost the contracts that you give, that you get
Mhm.
from 3 major estate agency chains, and that would have probably shut your business down. So it's like, you're a conveyancer. Don't ask for medals and trophies for doing your job that you should have been doing anyway. And if you
Exactly that.
needed more time, it's because you've bitten off more than you can chew by just chunking the numbers in, which without any due care and attention towards capacity. So they are,
This is,
yeah.
it is. This is the thing. Like last week, like I went and picked up a contract, delivered it, picked it up, dropped it back. Like, if it had got in the post, it would have been 3 days. So, all right, not everyone's going to be like that. And should I have been doing it? Well, again, it goes back to I cared, and I wanted my deals over the line. I wanted to get them moved, and they're forever grateful for it.
The interesting thing, though, that I've picked up about this period we've just gone through with the stamp duty is it's shown that it can be done.
Well, we got a deal done in 4 weeks.
Yeah. So my point is, I'm talking at scale nationally, right, rather than
Yeah.
you individually. But isn't it fair to say that because it's been shown it can be done, why isn't it done all the time? So the
Yeah.
process can be quicker. It can get deals through. They can do these things, but they choose not to go that extra mile for customers, which demonstrates to me generally that they don't care because they can do it.
Hmm. Yeah.
Don't know. Talking point. Anyway, um, Well, I'm glad you came out the other side of it. You've had a stonky month. That's really good to know. So we've been working together. You were one of the brave souls that put some faith in me a number of years ago, as we talked about, when Gazelle was literally a small baby crying in its crib, and I was trying to get it off the ground. And you had some faith in me very early on with this. So I want the listeners, which will be a lot of agents that are working with Gazelle and who maybe are too scared to get it started or don't quite know how to do it, or I don't know really why they wouldn't, because it's a hell of a USP, but that's up to them. And this is for them really, for you to give them some honest feedback. We have no script, right? We haven't rehearsed this before today. This is a straight chat between two people that are very transparent, very honest with each other. So don't hold back on it. So can you talk us through the experiences you've had, why you brought Gazelle in, what challenges you've had, and also hopefully what successes you've had on the other side of it?
Yeah, so I think if we go back to pre-COVID, obviously we'd met prior to that, and there was various things that we had on point. But one of the things that we discussed at length was securing deals and stopping deals from falling through. So, and I remember it clearly when we was in actually COVID, we had a chat, and you called me. It was probably about 8 o'clock at night, and you rang me all excited. Go, Chris, right? I've got the solution. I was like, all right, hit me with it. I can't remember the words, but it was something along the lines of, right, I've got the sort of product that we can work on that's going to obviously stop deals falling through. I was like, great, talk to me. And I remember you pitching it to me, and obviously when we come out on the 13th of May 2020, and I remember it quite clearly because it was my wedding anniversary, so that went down really fast. We came out of the out of the blocks, and it was like all systems go again. And it was like, okay, right, we've got this new product now, and yeah, we can actually reduce our fall through rates. Bearing in mind, I think at the time it was ridiculous, wasn't it? Like 1 in 3.
Yeah.
It was probably higher than that, wasn't it, at the time?
Yeah, yours was about 35% ish.
But on average, I think 1 in 3 houses fall through, and it's just like it's just ridiculous. So, yeah, you wanted me to be honest, and I think that you've obviously suggested people talking to me if about actually bringing this in. And the same conversation you have with a lot of people is like, I had a wobble in that year of 2020. I thought it was a great idea and I loved it. And there was one particular case that I didn't agree that it went over, and a buyer withdrew because of a development that was round the corner. He was on the management company. He should have known exactly what was going on. And it ruled in favour of the buyer. And it left a really sour taste with my seller, which obviously it was a case of it got directed at me, and it was like, Chris, you said this was going to stop us doing it, and it was like, yeah, I did, and I didn't agree with it at the time, and it got a wobble. And again, complete transparency, I had a deal after that where a seller said to me, and because I was sort of on the fence, I was like, I can't recommend it at the moment, and that is the honest truth. But then I looked at it and I was like, okay, fine, it's going to work. I do believe in it, but we need to get better at avoiding these potential obstacles going forward. So it was just again another learning opportunity. So we continue doing it. The struggle, and it's only really what I've noticed now. Bearing in mind, I've had a big changeover of staff, as you well know.
Yeah.
The staff, I at the time before, I believe the staff members believed in the product, but yet it's quite apparent that afterwards they didn't actually believe in the product. So, and it was a case of we were very weak in actually suggesting it to people. So, now that I've got the new team with me, everybody's used to reservation agreements, and I look at the statistics and I think what we've done close to 400 reservation agreements now. I think we are at there or thereabouts. I know it's high threes since 2020, and for me, when you say right, the national average in 1 in 3 houses falls through, our fall through rate is 17% overall, but with a reservation agreement, we've got a 94% completion rate. The statistics don't lie. So for me now, I know they do work. We've had a classic one as well, actually. I've just wound up thinking, where we had a buyer for a property, and this is even with my new team recently. Now, I know with every seller I go out and speak to, I know that they're 100% committed on the reservation agreement. And we had a buyer, went round, had a look, £5,000 over the asking price. Sounds great. First time buyer, happy to do the reservation agreement because we talk about it on every viewing that we do. Got it all agreed, subject to reservation agreement. Mum gets involved, who is an estate agent from a corporate company that you know very well. I won't mention them. And it came back, and she had a go at one of my staff members because we were conditionally selling,
Which is not the case, yeah.
which again just speaks volume of our industry. But I don't want to doubt it too
The
much.
irony of a corporate agent, sorry, mate, the irony of a corporate agent accusing an independent of conditionally selling.
I know it's an interesting point, isn't it? And then when you look at their fall through rate, and it's something like 36%. But anyhow, it's so she obviously went down this road. As I said, we don't get referral fees from it. I just believe in the product. So
Yeah.
and it's again something that hasten to add is our sellers wanted to do it, and team member, a couple of them went to me. She went, "Oh, well, we've got this deal at the moment. Obviously, it ties up X, and the buyer doesn't want to do it." Okay, fine. She went, "Well, what should we do?" I went, "Continue marketing. You've had 4 inquiries come in overnight. We do continue marketing." "Oh, yeah, we don't want to lose a buyer." "I don't care. Speak to the seller. See what it says." Went to the seller. Seller wants to do it.
Yeah.
What? It's not my instructions now. It's the seller.
Right.
Anyway, went back to it. Over the weekend, we had another offer from a buyer out of courtesy. We went back to this first time buyer and said, "Look, we've got another offer on the table. Where you're at is subject to a reservation agreement. Do you want to do it?" "I want to do it now." "Oh, that's interesting." Ironically, well, not ironically, but anyway, we went with this new buyer, and then next thing you know, the new buyer was refusing to do it. So we went back to the old buyer and said, "Look, you've got an opportunity now. Do you want this house? Yes or no? If you do, we need the reservation agreement signed." She said yes, and within 40 minutes, it was all signed and done. And
Bang.
then we not got rid of. Technically, we did. We got rid of the other buyer.
Well, I mean, you got rid of them, did you? I mean, you're not the mafia, but what you actually did is that you went back and said to them, the seller wants to go with someone that's prepared to match their commitment, which is what the essence of this is all about, right?
Yeah, and again, both had the opportunity.
Yeah.
The new person did. He refused to do it, and ultimately, yeah, as I said, it wasn't got rid of. Yeah, it's the wrong way of putting it. But yeah, we gave them. We're fair. We are fair in what we do. They
Yeah.
had the opportunity, and he had 2 days to sign it, so it wasn't a case of he had 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But for me, it just shows the strength, and ultimately, somebody wanted to do it. Now we've got a seller now that's protected, and
Yeah.
and we know they're committed. So.
How do you how have you changed your approach to appraisals and everything else using this as a tool?
Well, again, the figures and where I went through now, we've we got a particular 12-step plan that we go through, and I go through all the 11 steps. It sounds great, but it's all pointless if we don't do number 12, and number 12 is secure your sale. So that's the last thing that we do. I've used them. I've sold my nan and granddad's property recently. My
Yeah.
family weren't 100% on doing it, but again, strongly, well, I said we got to do it. My best friend's just done one recently. Again, for me, it's that's how much I believe in them. But the appraisal is the 12-step plan. 12.12 is secure your sale. Here's the statistics. Do you want to be 1 in 3 houses that falls through,
Yeah.
or do you want to be less than 1 in 10?
Yeah.
So, and generally, as I said, we've gone through, well, countless case studies, haven't we now?
Yeah.
Of buyers pulling out, wanting to pull out because of survey. I must admit, another thing, going back to the stamp duty, and I felt for one first time buyer as well, because I wasn't pressurizing her, but it was to the point where she actually felt overwhelmed through the whole process. Even she knew that we were trying to get it done, but it was constant emails, WhatsApps from me. And I got to a point, and I did say to the team, I was like, "I'm really, really worried now about how much pressure we're putting on, even though we're not putting pressure on." And I went to see her, and she actually did say to me, "Oh, this is just too completely overwhelming. We were supposed to be excited about this." And again, it was just another issue of what had happened. But going through, if I'd have done this several years ago, we're not a pressure agent, but it's how some people feel. I don't know if that person would have stayed there.
Do you mean when you talk about this, are you talking about she felt pressured by the process of buying the house, or about specifically the reservation?
Process
Oh,
by
okay,
me.
fine,
Yeah,
right,
sorry.
right,
But the reservation agreement, she was more than happy to do.
yeah,
Because again, it was something that the seller had two failed deals prior to that,
yeah,
which were in a reservation agreement, which we actually got paid for. But
yeah,
I think it's because of the pressures of the timeline, and in any situation, if there was a specific timeline, 4 weeks, that's like a phenomenal time frame to get
yeah,
things through. Um, I would have been worried on any of these deals that were on this time pressure constraint without a reservation agreement. I think
yeah,
in the past, people would have acted emotionally rather than logically, and the emotion would have been, "This is too much. I can't do this." Whereas the logic is, "Well, actually, I'm going to have to pay £2,000 if I pull out."
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
exactly.
it's yeah, it's I'll never know, but I do feel based on my experience of 20 odd years now that yeah, people do act when they're stressed and overwhelmed.
Yeah, emotionally, isn't it? It's an emotional situation.
Yeah.
Talking about that, how have you found your Rightmove hikes?
Uh, yeah, well, I've come in first thing this morning. I've got 14% increase on rates, and now knowing again, it's like it's absolutely ridiculous. But I'm one of those estate agents that moans about it, but we never do anything about it. But again, from the evidence that seems to be coming out from a certain member that we know very clearly, we know very well, it seems that the independents are getting their pants pulled down.
Yeah,
It would be, don't know. It'd be
more than the corporates, clearly.
more than the corporates. And again, is that fair? I
No.
don't know. I don't think it is personally.
It's business though,
Um,
mate, isn't it? You know, if you've got one client think of it this way. You've got a developer that's got 600 properties that could give you an annual amount of deals you do, or you've got 600 individual sellers, right? It was cheaper for you to recruit and work with that one developer than it is to go and source 600 properties. So the argument is, would you do a better deal for that developer than you would do for any of the individual 600 sellers?
well, it all depends if those 80% of independents that make up Rightmove decide then to do the other way. So, but then again, are the independents bold enough to do it?
Well, they're not because they've had the chance to do it in the past. A lot of bluster in this industry, not a lot of action. But actually, when you look at it, and I remember advising on this many times, and obviously as a customer of Rightmove myself, um, we seem to forget that we used to spend a ridiculous amount of money on newspaper advertising every week, which was also a massive pain in the backside putting it all together. Really, really big pain in the bum putting it all together. And actually, so you don't have the pain of putting together adverts every week and having to choose the properties and set them up. You don't have the problem with waiting once a week for the newspaper to come out. And that was a very big cost and was
Mhm.
impossible pretty much to manage the ROI on those. Whereas with Rightmove, it's quite comparable, but you get a lot more leads. And then, of course, you hear but the leads aren't very good. Every lead has potential.
Mhm.
Okay. If you're looking for leads that someone arrives in your inbox today that says, I want to buy a house, sell a house today. Well, you're never going to see those, right? Very rarely, because that's not how the public react. It's
Mhm.
not the customer cycle of buying in a state agency, buying the services of a state agency. It doesn't work like that. It's just not Amazon, for Christ's sake. So I mean, whenever I hear agents going, oh, the leads aren't very good, it's like, no, what you're saying is you don't run your business very well. Because
Yeah.
any lead that comes in should go into a compartment for nurturing, following up,
Mhm.
the hot leads that can get converted today, but the majority aren't like that. But they need a journey. People need to be, you know, communicated with over a strategic period of time. Uh, oh,
It's also really interesting, isn't it? Because there was a survey, wasn't there, that was conducted, I think, by the Property Academy a couple of years ago. And again, the amount of leads that aren't actually answered by estate agents is staggering.
It's staggering, and it's ignorant, in my opinion. It's
Yeah.
absolutely ignorant of estate agents to do that.
Mhm.
They think they know what everyone is thinking. They think, he's a time waster, she's a time waster, he's not here. How do you know that? If you actually have those skills, why the
Mhm.
hell are you an estate agent? Just
Yeah.
be on stage.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
That's our industry, isn't it? Though?
It's pathetic. It's.
I am still moaning though about the amount of money I've got
Well,
to
but there's a
pay.
there's a difference, isn't there? So you
Yeah.
came in this morning. You've opened, an email with a 14% price hike. Did you have any idea that was coming?
No, because I haven't had an account manager for 4 years.
Well,
Well,
so
I have. I
that's criminal.
technically have, but I haven't really had any. Well, this is it. It goes back to service, doesn't it,
Yeah,
or experience? Like the experience is appalling.
yeah,
And to be honest, even if they've tried to get hold of me now, I'll be completely honest. I've got no interest in talking to them because I've lost the trust there. That
yeah,
there's no rapport. I haven't had anybody. The only contact I ever get from them is, oh, by the way, your fees are going up. Well,
yeah.
it's that, but that's how short-sighted I think that personally Rightmove are becoming now. It's like, well, we don't really care now. We can do this. The service goes. Have they got a bigger plan? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyhow, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'll
So
continue doing it.
yeah, so you've had a great month, and you come in and Rightmove are capitalising on it by charging you a lot of money. But anyway, um, yeah, okay. Well, look, let's wrap it up. Thank you so much. Is any other comments you've got for agents about Gazelle? I suppose the
It's really interesting actually because I'm going to go back several years, and I remember being at one of the Property Mark conferences, and I've stopped going to these because again it was all talk, 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 and no action. But
yeah,
I remember being in a room of God knows how many agents. It was packed out, and one of the questions was, if we could do something to protect deals from falling through, would agents be up for it? Every single estate agent in that room put their hand up,
yeah,
yet nobody wants to change.
yeah, yeah,
So again, it goes back to and this is the problem again. Look at the estate agents, conveyancers, right? This is where I think estate agents are wrong, is because we talk the talk. Oh, we want change, but then we haven't got the balls to go and do it.
yeah.
So the way that I look at it is, I know from the deals that we are now putting on a reservation agreement, that is now saving me close to 100 grand a year.
Yeah. Good.
So I could have 100 grand falling through or not.
Yeah.
So there's number one. But also, if you actually really care about the client, then you would be putting this into place. Full stop. Why would you
Absolutely.
not? By not doing this, you know the fall through rates. You'll know your own fall through rate. Ultimately, you're offering a disservice to your clients if you're not doing it. Simple as.
Great place to finish up. Chris, thank you very much indeed for your time. I'll let you get back on. I know you've got a packed diary today, but really good to have you on, mate. Thanks so much.
No problem. Cheers.